Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con over coming to you with some more Company of Heroes 2 action. I was finally able to get my hands on some good replays, and here's the first one of them here now. It is going to be Luciano down here in the south on Langreskya, playing as the Blue-Trunked Wehrmacht forces. He is bringing on in Mobile Defense Doctrine, Elite Troops Doctrine, and Lightning War Doctrine. His opponent up in the north, it's Taylor Swift. So guys, be prepared. I might make one or two Taylor Swift jokes, but to your lucky day, I don't know that many of her songs. In any case, it is the Soviets he's bringing on, or she in this case, I'm not entirely sure, is bringing on partisan tactics, armored assault, and defensive tactics community. So this one's always kind of fun to see. It's a little bit, it's different. It's different, but in a good way, you know? It's like that weird uncle that you see every now and again. You don't really want to talk to too much, but he's a pretty nice guy. In any case, Luciano starting on off with the standard machine gun grenadier opening. He's got his infantry company already out, and it looks like, we do have special rifle command for Taylor Swift. I knew she was trouble when she walked in. Got some penals coming on out, and those guys are probably going to take the field pretty darn well. And you know, depending, let's see, on the angle of engagement, we'll probably wipe the floor with most of what the Germans have on the field at the moment. That being said, guys, I have been super excited to get in touch with you guys recently, get back into this. I realized I was gone for like a week and a half. And then we're really getting back into it. I'm looking to expand my operations further, or maybe doing a podcast kind of series. If you guys might be interested in something like that, hit me up in the comments below. Or, you know, I don't know. It's something I definitely want to do. But anyway, let's get back to this. We'll talk about my future aspirations for the channel and for things moving forward in just a minute. Taylor Swift is going for that clown car, and I'm really hoping we're not going to see that ridiculously annoying flamethrower combat engineer taxi. I'm not entirely sure what to call that. First engagement finally happens, though. Oh no, it's, Pioneers are setting down Wehr, not quite getting out the first couple of rounds, but no, that's what the Grenadiers are for. And with that, yeah, we're going to have actually a close engagement. It's going to be really, really hard for those combat engineers to stay competitive, and they do indeed back away. Interestingly, I don't think either player has their fuel and supply yet, do they? No, but the Soviets will do that in probably a few seconds, leaving this odd kind of strung out VP. And the Germans do have themselves going to be a 2-to-1 cap, and finally moving for their fuel at 2 minutes 30, and the Russians have already taken theirs. So the Russians have a slight minuscule fuel advantage. What's more, now we are going to see that clown car is out, and this guy with the 50 up front, 30 out back, yeah, that's going to do a lot of work, this poor MG42. You can see right there already a couple of bursts of fire, and he's going to be forced to retreat. But the Germans will not be outdone. They're charging after these combat engineers, and they're trying to take territory, and with the combat engineers moving in closer, well, that's exactly where the Germans want them. They outnumber them 2-to-1 already, and they are just cutting them to ribbons. Won't even see a death? No, not quite. Instead, we're going to see that clown car able to take that bad boy out. Battle phase 1 has happened now for the Germans already, it looks like. No, coming out right now, excuse me. But the Faust indeed coming in and threatening that scout car and encouraging him to back away ever so delicately. And I almost made a wrecking ball joke, then I realized that's not Taylor, that's Miley. In any case, guys, while we're seeing a little bit of engagement between the Penals and the Grenadiers down here, which really only should end one way, I have to do a quick little spot for seeing Dunkirk recently. That movie, by the way, guys, if you have not seen it, it's fantastic. So just putting it out there. If you like war movies, honestly, it made me cry a little bit. I don't get choked up about these movies, man. I didn't cry for Saving Private Ryan, or Thin Red Line, or a lot of them, but I teared up a little bit. Anyways, let's get back to the game before I start, weeping a little bit more. 2-to-1 cap is seeing the Germans going up 35 tickets here, but with the resurgent Penals coming in, I say resurgent, I find one of them suppressed already, pinned rather quickly too. If he doesn't get out of that line of fire, one more burst should do it. No, never mind. But the Rock 3 flamethrower is out, so there is the scout car with the flamethrower in the back, which means this machine gun crew is more than likely going to get carved to shreds. Thank God for retreating, taking less damage. Even as it is, they drop to about 50% health. Soviets, in the meantime, do take this garrison over here to the western side of the map. They control just about 50%. And the Germans continued not to have any fuel to their name, which is just a crying shame. Medic bunker coming on in as well. Infantry company, they're not going to be any kind of thing that can face off against a scout car, which is a bit of a problem. Be even more of a problem when you realize that right now the Soviets are going to find themselves a trip cap, and Luciano is pretty much stuck in base. He's finally getting out now, but he has lost the supply points that connect him over to that all-important fuel, and he's just getting strangled. The lifeblood of his army is just falling to pieces. Pino's in the meantime hanging on out, and the scout car with the combat engineers will take that last point away from good old Father Deutschland there. Now, I say this every single time, but it's worth noting that those Pino troops only get better as time goes on, especially as they pick up that first-star veterancy. But to the last man, pretty darn good, and even if you have to lose a couple of models to get it, it's not anything to sneeze at. Machine gun, in the meantime, is going to get carved up again, forced back again, and finally we're going to see a Leichte Mechanized Company, which means that the Germans are finally going to put a pack out onto the field, one would hope. It's going to be a giant, giant mess if they try to bring either a half-track or a, what's the term I'm looking for here? Or even a 222. Don't think that'd be a great idea. I mean, it'd be okay, but that heavy machine gun will just do wonders against it. In the meantime, Grenadiers outnumbered yet again by these Pino troops, and that's going to be the story of this early game right now. It would be kind of nice to see Luciano get a little bit of indirect fire, perhaps, to start barraging all of these garrisons. Taking fire from two directions, and yep, these Pioneers are going to take some pretty bad losses. The only thing they can be happy about is that this was a combat engineer squad and not the Penals. But 6:30 in, we're bang on even with tickets now. And any sec, there we go, bang on even in tickets. The German's going to be hard pressed to take back. Oh no, he's going for a 222. Oh dear God. And here comes somebody to chase after them, and that's going to be a giant, giant mess. Don't do it, please. You'll make me cry. You will make the Khan cry. Don't do it. So he's just going to continue to hop in and out, trying to just pull him on in. But Luciano's not falling for those games. And there we go. So actually, boom, there goes the garrison. It does a lot of damage to the 222, so a very interesting tactic being utilized there. Regardless, the 222 does get out alive, if only barely. Germans, in the meantime, the center part of the map will go and take back this center VP, but it'll probably take some damage to do so. Yep, drop it on back. They're going to lose it almost immediately. And the fact that Taylor Swift has not decided to go for this partisans just yet kind of tells me it's not going to be a partisan play overall. Luciano, though, will go for that lightning war doctrine. So, with hope, he's not going to go for that kind of insane Osttroop reserves, because those guys, unfortunately, are just not powerful enough to be great in the long term. But he is going to go for that end-game Tiga, which at that point makes me kind of wonder if he's even going to tech up that much more with his fuel basically in tatters. Will he be even able to do that? Damage engine, in the meantime, does a good amount there, as well as destroying the main gun. So that machine Wehr up front, well, yeah, now it's only a crew of 2 on that bad boy. But 8 minutes in, the Germans are down a little bit in tickets, and burst of fire, no, not going to happen. And indeed, combat engineers are going to get around and probably get close enough to boil this poor machine gun crew alive. Grenadiers, in the meantime, in the south. I'm wondering if we're going to see some legitimate investment into Gewehr 43s, or if this is just the German kind of immediate play to play for time until later, which getting that whole tactical movement and even perhaps that Junker air support. I don't know, I'm not particularly thrilled about it if that's why he's picking that doctrine. And in the meantime, 222 is out in the field. He's going to be moving on around, and MG42 probably walked over some kind of explosive. It was not particularly pleasant for them, though. 222 should be able to slide around and really put pressure on him, but he's not going to do so. With now a T-70 being brought into the map, ain't gonna be pretty for the little boys in blue. The Germans are trying to take back this position over here. They're not going to be able to do it, but they will draw 60% of the Soviet infantry in response. Combat engineers, in the meantime, might explode from firepower. One of them should go down at least immediately, but nope, never mind, not going to happen. And we will see a Dushka 38 coming on down, so Taylor Swift has gone for that lovely, lovely defensive tactics from the community. It'll be interesting to see the M42 come on out, mostly because... Actually, you know what? Let's forget about that. Meantime, TM35 mine is out, and hopefully that 222 will not go back over it. T70 will come on in and chase him back a little bit. MG42 will get pushed back as well. It looks like this Pack 40 is going to try to line up against it, but it will not be easy for them.
Territory is out of contact.
And there's one Wehr coming on in, so no one already being completely brought on board. And, I mean, it's kind of great. It is. It's not too bad. It's just that I'm wondering if that's going to be enough firepower to deal with those Pinot troops as they get more and more upgraded. Reminder, casualty interrogation, pretty awesome if you can find a casualty. And really, longer range firepower, not too bad. But I'm still skeptical. Panzer Grenadiers are coming on out, though, so I don't think it's going to be for that AT capability. I think instead it's just going to be for the STG-44s. And probably a decent call on that one. But despite the fact that the Soviets did very, very well in pushing back the German war machine, now, ooh, geez, this T-70 might even go down. One more round. No. Just barely not doing it, and now the 222 has a nice little easy attack pattern over at the scout car. Not perfect, mind you, but still pretty darn good. Meantime, he'll be forced back, though, because any sort of satchel charge will take him on out. So he will hopefully continue to back away, otherwise we will see a dead 222. Yep, they were trying to do the little awkward shuffle so they can get that bit of deviltry on in. In the meantime, though, 3 squads of Grenadiers are coming in and from behind. Oh, jeez. 2 are picking up a position. Meanwhile, the other ones are engaging from across the road. Thankfully, not in negative cover, but sandwiched between 2 forces, the Pinos are forced back. So very good engagement there for Luciano. Let's take a quick look over here again. I don't think he's gone up to Battle Phase 2. No, he has not. Taylor Swift obviously, of course, has himself a mechanized armor compania.
Enemy forces are securing
But no tank battalion command, and that's probably a good thing right there. In the meantime, Wehr has gone out all around this sandbag position, so it's completely worthless to everybody. But the Germans will trade their VP for some fuel, and I have to say I probably agree with that particular decision. Grenadiers are coming on out, though. Yep, rifle grenade coming on in, and it's going to get out just before. Ooh, he got stuck around. He might have been able to take it out, but he's not going to do it. Instead, he's going to send the 222 on in? Yes, he is, but it's going to be too late. That's just a shame. He could have taken that Dushka 38. Slaughtered him with 1 rifle grenade. A second Dushka 38, of course, is out on the field. Germans have their own fuel coming back online just very shortly. Going to at least decap the one over here to the southeast, although the T-70 will make that rather painful indeed. And at long last, there is that stupid mortar I was waiting to see. Setting up behind this tree line, probably a good idea there. And, yep, never mind. Germans will be able to run just before that decap happens. But 13 in, what do we have? We have ourselves a very, very even game. We're seesawing back and forth a little bit. I'm not saying it's like a playground, but it's pretty darn close. Luckily for the 222, he had Pioneers in support to pick up this particular mine. That is no longer going to be in play. And Germans are going to start Fausting the bejesus out of this T-70. So they might go and drop a couple of models over here, but this Pak-40 could be resetting itself and really being able to take it out. Nope, it's going to be 222 taking the kill, I think. And the flamethrowers is out on the map. Yikes! T-70 is gone, and that is a big win right there for Luciano. Now he's going to back up with one of his squads of Grenadiers, and he will get out just barely before it gets picked off. And the thing they have to watch out for, they cannot give up that flamethrower without a fight if he had just rifle grenaded it or something. But now those Pinos have themselves a terrifying weapon indeed. The Pinos are forced to give, excuse me, the Grenadiers are forced to give ground in the face of it. Pioneers are able to pick out this mine? No, they're not. That's a shame. The GR-34 is doing some good work here, and now the 222 really has no real concerns against it, other than perhaps a very, very opportunistic satchel charge. And he can just run rings around the Pinot troops here, so really he should be fine. Pak-40 in the meantime is going to find itself getting carved to pieces. No, maybe he's not, but somebody is by these double Dushkas. And the Pinos are not going to be able to get out of the firing arc to... Oh, I was wrong again. M42 in the meantime has been called out to the field, but a 45mm anti-tank gun may not be enough. Rifle grenade, unfortunately, does not really happen too easily. What the heck? just happened. I don't know what happened. But that was awesome for the Germans and lousy for the Soviets. That's really unfortunate. I don't know if there's a mine on the field or what it was. And a bundle grenade coming on out, and Pinos are not paying attention just quickly enough. The cart gets blown to pieces, as do 2 models. And Luciano is starting to assert himself, and this is the Luciano that we used to see back at during the prime heyday of Company of Heroes 2. Well, what could Taylor Swift do about this? Well, he or she is making himself a mechanized armor compania, and that's probably a pretty decent idea. And that's pretty much about the best he can do. Because going into another T-70 or two would just set him back further. I don't think it's really the best option under the circumstances. Germans now have a 22-head army lead. But this captured Dushka is going to go the way of the Dota, I almost feel like. Yep, there we go.
The enemy has killed a machine gun crew.
So that was done. Not dumb, mind you, but just done. Grenadiers, in the meantime, are going to get forced back, and they're outnumbered 4-1 here. Still pretty darn bad. They got to retreat now. They're not going to. There we go. Well, the Germans are making a big push over here on the eastern flank, and now this Dushka has been recrewed, and pioneers are running away, and these Pinos have been completely outflanked. 222 is behind him. Dushka's going to turn around and hopefully carve him to pieces, and there we go. That's one suppression. And the other one's going to get suppressed in a second. There we go. But that's going to take some micro to switch back and forth to make sure both squads are getting suppressed. And you have to watch out pin. Okay, there we go. So the pin is going to keep him alive. At least for right now. And this is great micro back and forth. He's going to continue to pin both directions here. One squad pinned. He needs to retreat. Yep, and now it's going to free him up against this squad over here. That should be just fine, I think, for... Oh, never mind. He's going to back away before he takes the fuel point. Alright, interesting call. Interesting call. Pioneers coming on in. Did they finally get rid of that mine in the center part of the field? Yes, they did. That's no longer there. P-Guns charging on forward. They're going to try to take this position over here. I believe they are. And now it's a T-34-76 coming on out. And the Germans have lost that MG again. Here comes a satchel charge. 222 is not going to. He's going to hate that. Oh, he gets out of range from that one. So luckily for him, there. But it's still a 2-1 caps with 378 to 363. That mortar's going to do great amounts of damage, and is already 5 kills and dropping more firepower on that garrison. Sooner or later, a love is going to get you, and sooner or later, love is going to win. And if not a love, then at least a mortar. So some good damage coming on out. Meantime, Germans are taking this northwest position up here, and now that we see the T-34 coming on out, here's an opportunity for the, well, the tempo of this game to switch back into the Soviet side of things. I can't say for sure, but it's definitely possible. But where are we overall? I should need a quick sip of a beverage to quench my thirst. And the first guy that the T-34 goes after is a squad of Grenadiers. That's real freaking brave. 222 might try to bravely interpose himself over here, but no, and the PaK-40 is out of position. And the MG-42 is out of position to even put any kind of tickling fire on it, and we'll take 50% casualties because of it.
We have lost a squad.
That's bound to happen. Okay. Alright, in the meantime, though, Germans are going to go and decap this position over here to the eastern side, and they're going to throw down some S-mines. But the combat engineers are going to be able to easily clear that if the Germans are not careful, and at the moment they really aren't that careful. P4 is being called on in those, so Germans have gone to Battle Phase 2 as well as invested in that medium tank. A little hesitant to really kind of get behind that, but then again, I've always been a big fan of just waiting for that big cat. But under the circumstances, I suppose it does make sense. Now, will these P-Guns end up going for a anti-armor package? No, at least not immediately. Pioneers, in the meantime, will go and take the position, but take 50% casualties doing it. Germans, in the meantime, as well, assuming Grenadiers, will charge on in, trying to take them on out. He will lose the Pioneer squad, but he's going to come up and probably Faust this guy into oblivion. No, he's not. He could have done it, but he didn't. No Faust. Alright, he could have taken out that dumb scout car once and for all, but he didn't manage to do so. 222 did go down in the meantime. I believe that was the M42. Took him on out. Might even drop the Grenadier squad in retreat as well. So this would be a big loss for the Germans and a fairly big win, I would say, for the Soviets. Luckily for both sides, though, that firing on the move tanks are horribly inaccurate. Down here, though, we're going to see charging Penal Battalion with a satchel charge, going to blow that guy to smithereens. Oh, the poor mortar team. So no more mortar, but might be able to pick up a... Nope. Thought I might be able to pick up a Penal Battalion squad on retreat. And now there's that 120 mil mortar coming out for the Soviets. And with the Soviets getting that, it's going to be a lot of Das Vidanya, not so much Guten Tag. Now, taking a quick look at veterancy, because that's been something we haven't talked about at all so far this particular game. Soviets are doing fairly well. They have a couple of squads up to full veterancy. Germans are only having 2 themselves, one of which being these Grenadiers are getting abused pretty hardcore. Though they are fighting these penals to a standstill. This guy's going to probably get a chance to suppress... Yep, that's a suppression. Will it be a pin? I don't think it will be.
Our points have fallen to 300.
Nope, not a pin, but it's a decap, and that's just as good for the Germans. And yikes, they got out of there just in time. The 120 mil mortar could have just completely destroyed them. Germans replacing their mortar as well as it's repairing their P4 a little bit. So good things being done there. And I have to wonder, is he now going to play for that late game Tiger, or is he just going to go with medium tanks for this particular game? If I were he, I'd be going for the Tiger. But again, Luciano's a much better player than I am, and that's not inaccurate to say. 378 to 284. We are now 21 minutes and 50 seconds into this game, and the Soviets are rushing back to the attack in the center part of the field. They are decapping the Eastern VP. They will be taking a lot of machine gun fire here, though, so that's pretty positive right there for the Germans. And now this mortar's going to start laying down smackdown as well. Question is, can they suppress this penal squad before the penal squad gets too much damage done on the machine gun squad? And they can. It does look like that. And now the P4 comes in to levy its own pound of flesh from the Soviets. It sends them packing. Question is whether or not we're going to see the M2 be in the area to push him back. And he will be slowly, but it's a 45mm cannon. Look at that. It's just barely dinging off the side of the armor. What's more, we are going to see the P-Grens coming on into the side trying to pick off the M42, excuse me. But that will not occur much longer. Now, we could see a Stungo close air support being called in, but I don't think it's really the best option under the circumstances. I kind of wonder if we are just going to see that late game. Other than that, he's only really picked Lightning War just to pick up the Skirmishes, which I can understand, I suppose. I'm not sure that's really the most efficient option out of what he had. Su-85 being called on in now, and P4 blows a hole into the side of this house and finally does take it down. But it's forced back as a T-34-76 finally gets his act together and starts taking some good health out of said P4. Looks like both sides are going to trade fuel, or at least decap one another. Soviets going to be a few seconds behind the Germans. But the Germans are okay with that. If they take both these VPs, they're going to take a very, very good lead, and that Pioneers needs to get out of there now. Alright. Grenadiers will not get the complete cap off, but they will have a good amount of help from this MG42. Now, I could go and show you just that mortar continuing to fire from both sides, but where's the fun in that one? And indeed, I have kind of enjoyed Taylor Swift's play, utilizing the various strengths of this community defensive position. Oof.
Brave infantry have made the ultimate sacrifice.
And that's one of the penal squads going on down, I think. And the MG42 is going to start to put some firepower into this scout car. We'll do a pretty good job of it. Where's that Pack 40? Pack 40 is in the side. We'll put some really good shots over into the side of said scout car. So very lucky for the scout car that he retreated when he did. Frankly, I was expecting that Pack 40 to get one more round off, but that did not happen. And yeah, Luciano's just playing that Tiger game at this point. Smoke coming on out from the German mortar to keep the Soviets at arm's length. And with that, the Germans are up 100 and, what, almost 120 tickets now? Exactly 120 tickets. And really, if they take the center position, the drain will continue to happen. Now, T-34-76 has been able to get the whole secure mode business going on down, and will do so. And fairly lucky for him, the Germans don't realize what he's doing. Grenadiers, in the meantime, are aggressing after the M42, and going to get flanked in turn by all of those convicts. Luckily for him, though, we do see the MG42 is far enough forward and has 3 stars of veterancy, so really good. Burst control, quote, accuracy, and suppression. And really, really solid. However, they take mortar fire just as much as the next guy. So now it becomes an indirect game as both players try to suppress one another. And we'll do a pretty good job of it. Tiger is almost ready to come on out, though, and Luciano is just waiting for that last bit of fuel. There we go, and said Tiger. Not yet. There we go. Jantiga kommt. 358 to 220. Germans will lose a few tickets for the moment as they have to reassess their particular position here. But we continue to see Grenadiers kind of slightly aggressing and then backing off. Not really being too focused on damaging or critting out one of these particular tanks, which I think is a bit of a mistake. But hey, once again, I'm sure Luciano knows exactly what he's doing, whereas I often do not.
The enemy is taking what we have secured.
And that Tiga is on the field, and it's not just a beautiful thing. A little blocky, mind you, but it's still pretty darn beautiful. Now, he's getting himself that MG, and he's not fired just yet, but you can tell a lot about how a Tiger's going to do by the first shot that he goes and either hits or misses with. Grenadiers will find themselves completely suppressed. The rifle grenade will not be able to go long enough to really keep them up and running. Yikes. Yikes. Okay, well, P4's out, so is the Tiger tank, and the Tiger's got a little bit of damage, but not a ton. I would like to see the P4 charge on in and let's take out this stinking thing over here. Tiger, in the meantime, will find himself a machine gun to torment, while the T-34-76 just takes firepower from, puts firepower, into this Grenadiers. Su-85 moves in to try to stop the bleeding, but between the PaK-40, the Tiga, and the P4, you do not want to be there. Well, once again, we're back to a 1-to-1 cap, 348 to 220. And Tiger's now here to impose some order and fear among the Soviet army. He'll take some firepower from the Su-85, and that's a little bit unsettling, but all things considered, 4 kills on him already, 7 kills on the P4, and they're sending everyone pretty much packing without too much sweat. Another Su-85 being called on in for the Rodina, and I guess it's probably a pretty good decision, all things considered. Looking at the map itself, there's a lot of kind of more natural choke points to kind of set up your anti-tank emplacements and have them start shooting down the field. Yugo Close Air Support comes on out, which means this T-34-76 get forced back for just a couple of moments, but big deal, right? And now he's going to loiter around the field. It would have been better perhaps he was able to drop it back in the further back in the reaches.
The enemy has taken our supply sector.
Well, that's 200 munis right there, then. And the Junkers will not get a lot of usage, I don't think. So 200 munitions go down, and I'm not sure exactly what he got out of it. He's not even taking the center position here, so I don't know if he's just trying to slow things down for a couple seconds or what the deal might be, but he's doing something. I'm not sure what it is just yet. There'll be some nice veterancy as well if these guys decide to destroy the scout car. What a decent idea, I feel like. There we go. And look at that veterancy jump. Geez, they don't bear any veterancy now. They're halfway through 2 stars. Dushka 38 will put some good fire down on Grenadiers in the center part of the map, pinning them out. And here comes a rifle grenade from the brave assistant Grenadier squad, taking out half that particular Soviet force, but all in all, still not 100% effective. Huge bundle grenade coming on out, misses completely. And now we have the P4, excuse me, the Tiga coming back in, the P4 moving from the other angle. Luckily for the Germans in this particular one, the crew member cannot die courtesy of flames. Meantime, mortar does take out one of the Dushkas, and that's a shame, but all things considered, for the Soviets, it could have been a hell of a lot worse. At least they can take it back. However, these penal troops, well, they take lots of losses right there, and what does this guy have? Well, 14 kills, so not as many as I thought he might have. He almost took another one, though. And counter battery fired going after the machine gun instead, so I'm not sure I really agree with that particular decision. But again, the Germans are up now 150 tickets, and the Soviets are hard-pressed to do anything about it. Though, with 2 Su-85s and a 76, you kind of wonder what he's waiting on. It ain't an infantry advantage, I can tell you that much. Mortar in the meantime. Where's the MG coming in out? MG can theoretically see. No, he can't. Oh, no, he can. There we go. Soviets are looking to pick off this anti-tank gun. I kind of feel like, nope, he's shooting way the heck far back. Not entirely sure why he did that, but interesting. Penal troops went out with half strength, and they might even go to the grave with no strength. Grenadiers in the meantime, well, Faust galore! Damaged engine. Grenadier squad might even go down. Not quite yet, though. As now the P4 moves on forward to kind of torment it, as does this Pack 40. But the Pack 40 is not going to be able to pick it off. One more shot would have done it, though. Meantime, Grenadiers over here to the eastern side pick up this fuel point, and the T-34 limps away, and I really have to stress how much he's limping. And it almost feels like if a mortar round got dropped on top of it, he might have even be able to take it out. But instead we have the P4 kind of hunkering around, snooping around to one side or the other. You're going to put fire into his machine gun, I'm sure. Or not. He decides better of it. Now this Dushka's asking to get picked off. I'm surprised this mortar team is not even engaging him, or that this Pack 40 is not even trying to engage. P4 in the meantime will take some firepower from Su-85s. Okay, so the Tiger's coming on in instead. Doesn't take him out. Super lucky for the Soviets, super unlucky for the Germans. It could have been a big hit right there, taking out one of the 2 support weapons that's just been doing so much damage to their troops. It's been decrewed a couple of times, mind you, but being recrewed is almost as good. P4 in the meantime gets a nice little new paint job from now 2 Pioneer squads with that hazard removal kit. It gives them a good little extra kick into the repair now, isn't it? Grenadiers facing off against combat engineers who are throwing down a explosive trap. Nope, never mind. And animation cancel happens just before he wastes those munitions, so well done there on Luciano's part. Now, this Dushka in the meantime is going to go and pin them down, but that's worth at least understanding. And now we have a bit of an interesting fight. Penal Battalion, who are just getting smothered like crazy by all this extra firepower, against pretty much half the German army. Intelligently, he decides that discretion is a better part of valor, and he backs away. Now, this Dushka, in the meantime, over here to the eastern side, well, he's got to back up or else he's going to get taken on out, and he's going to lose a couple of models in retreat, I can almost imagine. P4 will take a couple of good, solid hits there. But the Tiger comes in from this side and will completely miss in his first round. He might have been able to even take out. No, he's not. And here's a ram. Oh, but somehow the ram does not work. So I'm not sure exactly how that happened. But the T-34-76 brews on up, and that's just a bad luck of the Irish. Taylor Swift is Irish, isn't she? I'm guessing. But Taylor Swift blowing it right there. Unfortunately, that could have been a great ram, actually. And I missed the P4 going on down, but the Tiga is still alive.
Enemy forces are neutralized.
Oh no, actually P4 is not even technically dead, just with the destroyed engine. So this could be an opportunity for the Germans to really ramp up their armor presence. However, these flames are not going to be particularly helpful for the Germans trying hard to retreat in the face of them. Dropping 5 or 6 models pretty darn quickly there. Big guns forced back in the meantime as well. Now, rifle grenade coming on out does take out the Dushka over here, so this Dushka gets decrewed yet again. And the Germans again can take another particular machine gun crew, and that's a fairly decent one, I would say. Tiger coming on up, going to get engaged on by a couple of these Su-85s, I'd imagine. And the third one coming on out. So, gonna be tons and tons of scary firepower there. Stuka, in the meantime, still exists, and that P4, is he still a carcass on the field? He is. I wonder if Luciano doesn't know that, though. That would be unfortunate to see it drop into Soviet hands. Some good deutsches Maschinerie falling into the hands of the communists. In the meantime, Su-85 is getting repaired, back up to full strength, getting some good veterancy out on those tank destroyers. And he kind of needs it, too. The German army has gotten very, very talented in the interim. And I think at this point I really would like to go for a double Shrek onto these Su-85s. Screw this, you have more than enough opportunity to throw down things like bundle grenades and the like, and that could have been avoided so easily. Why did you do that? Oh, jeez. Bundle grenade comes out, that machine gun crew is pretty devastated. Kaboom! Oh, actually, a little bit less than I thought. Okay, so only 2 kills on that one. 348 to 119, though. Taylor Swift is definitely in trouble. And now that Strug is on out, not going to do a whole lot to these particular Su-85s. But flank shots will be at least nice. And what's more, the Strug is pretty darn good, I would say, against a lighter Soviet presences. Unfortunately for him, he is supremely lightly armored by comparison to this Tiga. And I think Luciano does in fact know that this guy still exists. I think he's just waiting for an opportunity for all of his guys to be healed back up to full strength, and he's going to take that tank back over. And one Su-85 going on down. Thank you very much, says the pack. And this other criminal battalion, who is he getting suppressed by? Who is he getting pinned by, for that matter? He's out of range, isn't he? I don't know. We'll see. Well, we are 37 minutes into this game, and now Luciano seems to be imposing himself in every single facet of this game. 120mm mortar being forced back for the first time since its inception onto the battlefield, and the Germans still continue to have a 2-to-1 cap advantage, and are now beginning to swarm forwards. Now, if I were the Soviets, I'd be saying, wait, no one's been over here for quite a bit of time. Send a distraction force, send somebody to go and try to take out positions over there. The Strug intelligently retreats in the face of sure death and destruction. The M42 has done a decent amount of work. No kills to his name, but still, 2 stars of veterancy on an anti-tank gun. It's nothing to sneeze at. What's more, rate of fire and weapon control and accuracy and target penetration. Forgive me, because I don't often see that bad boy here. Tracking in the meantime could be kind of nice, except it's 35 munis. Although Taylor Swift is definitely swimming in munitions right now, so I don't really know what's keeping him from doing that. And there we go. That is the repair work being done to this P4, and that's going to get recruited by somebody right quick. Oh, it just makes my heart glad. Tiger, in the meantime, will take firepower from multiple sources here. Might be a dead Tiger. Or we could see another drop of Stupid Plus air support. Is trying to draw him on in? I don't know. There we go. So, is Taylor Swift paying attention? Yes, she is.
One of our AT guns has been neutralized.
Pack 40 goes on down, though, and that's a bit of an upsetting thing for the Germans, I would argue. What's more, not even going to take any kind of blood price away from the Soviets for killing it. Now, I am concerned to see whether or not, first of all, do the Germans know about that? And the answer to that is I really don't know at the moment. We'll certainly see. And now they do. Maybe you could turn your gun around and start firing at it. Nope, he's not going to do it. Instead, he's going to back away so that way he can repair the Tiger tank, I think. And there it goes. Bit of a kaboom. 336 to 99. Soviets have about 25% of the tickets that the Germans do. And that is probably going to continue for the rest of this particular game.
Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector.
Alright, 40 minutes in, here we go. Middle position to go back to the Germans, and this eastern side, I think the Germans are just throwing a couple of squads over here just to keep the Soviets honest. And they are, indeed. Meanwhile, the Soviets are not really pushing a whole lot of different places over here. Yes, these Germans are going to get carved to shreds here, but MG42 backing him on up, as is this P4, this revived P4. I have to say, I'm not particularly happy with the fact that the penals have not gone for any sort of PTRSs. I understand that you may not want to go for all the extra firepower. That some people have a lot of issues with the PTRSs not being as effective as they might otherwise hope. But your opponent is obviously going into a intense amount of armored vehicles. It'd be kind of silly to not go for it. SU-85 holds the pack, captured Pack 40, throwing away that P4, so almost right before he even comes back onto the field, he's getting pushed on back, as is that Stug. And the Tiga is back here and is waiting for his day in the limelight, as these penals do find themselves pretty hammered. P4 goes down, but that is still one P4 he didn't have to pay for. The Tiga should be able to pick up at least one of his SU-85s on retreat. No! He's going to throw rounds into the ground instead. He's going to be sporting about it. But he has popped Blitzkrieg Tactics. Unfortunately for him, that SU-85 is still quite devastating, even against Tiger armor like that. Combat engineers are going to get carved up pretty good, and Grenadiers will find themselves getting pretty hammered as well, but I think he's going to be able to take out one of these squads of machine guns. No, he's at two squads instead getting pinned, and that machine gun is just barely going to limp away. Now, on that note, 310 to 99. Germans will lose their 2-1 advantage over to the Soviets. It's happened after a few seconds here, as well as probably even going under a triple cap because of Taylor Swift finally moving over here to the western side. It does my heart good to see that. I'm always a little bit disturbed whenever players kind of get tunnel vision on one side. Explosive Trap does go and take out a squad of Grenadiers, I believe. No, the MG squad. So at long last, the MG squad is dead. Ding dong, indeed. P4 just try to go and take out all the obstructions in the way. But it's not going to be particularly easy. Now that Strug might even go down. Heck, even this Tiger might take a lot of damage here. Tiger's got 2 stars, by the way, so he shouldn't be scared about too much. We still don't want to be particularly aggressive against all of this anti-tank. That might be true, but in the meantime, P4 does support this Dushka. This Captain Dushka is going to go down. Almost for sure. Almost for sure. Oh my god, I'm proving a liar yet again. I hate that. Well, meanwhile, the Pinos, wow, these guys have 35 kills. This guy's definitely the MVP, I would say, of the Soviet side. Of course, as I say that now, he's getting completely shredded. Only a little bit of health left on any of those models. Going down to 2. Going down to 1?
We have a new T-34 standing by.
No, he makes it out alive. In the meantime, a second T-34-76 comes on out. First one having gone down several minutes before. And the Germans losing a good chunk of their VP advantage. Grenadier shifting on over here to the western side to pick it on up, and it looks like that was actually taken on out as well. I think it claimed its fair share of victims before it did, though. I think it was the P-Gren squad. So, all that veterancy the Germans had is starting to go the way of the dodo. Which is a problem, because now the shoe is on the other foot. Luciano might be forced into an ignoble kind of surrender here. Strug would now try to put rounds over into this T-34-76, but a couple of tank destroyers on its flanks might even force it, oh my gosh, almost taking it out in a heartbeat. Almost. A devastating amount of damage being done there. 76 in the meantime backs away, and where is the repair corps, I would say, for the Soviets? Well, one's back in base, the other one is out, I think, yet repairing this SU-85. who has that lovely ability of focused sight.
Enemy forces are attempting to capture our territory.
Doesn't cost anything, does it? No, it doesn't. Grenadiers, though, will get carved up. These guys might even get torn to pieces, while Luciano is forced back yet again. His Tiger taking a lot of negative attention. And the Soviets are trying just to hold on to their middle position, and with a couple of Su-85s, it's going to be really hard to deny them their particular goal. Dushka, captured Dushka is getting forced back. Might even see him go down. Won't be easy for him to get out alive. And indeed, there he goes, and that Dushka gets blown to pieces as well. So 45-32 in, the Germans are down almost 20-ish army supply. It's going to get worse before it gets better, I kind of feel like. And now it's the Tiger tank, 2 Stugs, and a P4 against an absolute butt-ton of armor and anti-armor assets. Losing that Pack 40 really, really hurt. I will see at some point seeing Luciano use that interrogation talent, but he's not going to do it at this point, and that mortar just took out that last casualty that was hanging on out there. T-34-76 comes back in, and I've always been a little bit disappointed by how effective they are in open combat against infantry. Grenadier squad gets carved up, goes down to 1 model, just a bare bit of health. I'm going to speed this up a tiny, tiny bit. As another T-34-76 gets called on in. And the Germans just dropped squad after squad at this point. But a combat engineer squad did go down for the Soviets, and I believe that might be one of the last ones we do see coming onto this map. Now you can tell where the main line pretty much was, because you can see where all these shell impacts are from both sides. There's no man's land in the middle, causing a lot of issues for both sides. And T-34-76 being right there is going to keep all of the Germans at arm's length. A 4th Stug, a 3rd Stug coming on in. I believe we're going to see a Death or Glory charge. That's going to be fascinating to watch. Oof. And that Tiger tank showing why it's not a good idea to be out and about when the big cats are out to play. Now, 1 T-34 has been hammered, and here are Stugs coming on in to take it on out. So 1 more set of rounds. There we go. That's 1 T-34-76 going out. Tiger comes on in. Gonna do decently well and listen to this Su-85s really start going in and going at it. But the Stugs are charging, and they are very, very intent on taking out the 76s at least. There goes 1. The Su-85s are being aggressed on. P4 is still in the area. 1 Stug is still up, but there's not much German infantry left on the field. Not sure what the heck just happened there. And yep, we're just going to see a Stug probably sacrifice himself for the good of the fatherland. M42 does not take a shot at him there. Instead, preferring to fire over at the Tiger, and I guess that's an understandable decision, but it's not the right one under the circumstances. Another, yep, self-charge could be good. And I guess Luciano's thought is, even if he loses this Tiger, he can get another one in another minute or 2. The Su-85 will definitely do a lot of damage, and this M42 is at this point no longer anything to sneeze at. Out of control. Stuck's got to back up in the face of all this death and destruction. He goes down, never mind. So now both sides are roughly down to the same army supply, but Luciano has next to no infantry. Now the question is, can he find this Su-85 successfully and take him out? The M42 might be a difficult prospect. There we go. Actually, never mind. So the upgun Stug might be able to take him on out. 1 more shot could do it. That's the death right there. So well done.
Another vehicle has been lost in the defense of
And another one, indeed. There's been so many vehicle losses on this map. Luciano's got to fall back, though. He cannot afford to lose anything else. Pioneer's being brought on in, and that might be a taking for the pack? No, it's going to be instead these Grenadiers taking a lot of firepower, literally. But they're just covering for the Stug, so the Stug can safely take out that anti-tank gun. So well played there, sacrificing 2 models so he can go and save his future armor assets, any threat from that anti-tank position. 26 kills for this particular mortar crew. Is that star-studded group still alive? Yes, 39 kills. The other one that was early, 23 kills. 31 kills in this thing? Dear Christ. 7, 2, 1. This guy's got 28. He's definitely a current MVP. 38, never mind, I say that wrong. And I'm wondering if it would not be a better idea just to throw down another bunker and then make it a repair bunker out of that. Yes, it would be immobile, but it would give you a nice consistent way to be aggressive with your pioneers and still have a repair source back at home. Now here's a question. Will these combat engineers be close enough they can blow up this bad boy with another rifle grenade? No, that's not going to happen. But the Germans are still up a bare 50 tickets. They've lost almost 200 since I really focused on their score. Which represents a fantastic comeback for Taylor Swift. In the meantime, these bad boys are able to get another repair kit. Oh, hazard removal, excuse me. But this will see the tanks being brought back in rather nicely. And speaking of veterancy, because we haven't talked about that in probably 10 or 15 minutes at this point, the Germans now are heavily outclassed, I would say, by the current Soviet war machine. Now, grenade goes out, but the explosive trap does not get detonated. So, in a few seconds, we'll probably see a dead grenadier squad. Yep. Oh, not quite. So, a little bit over-eager on that one. And base MGs are going to get called into the fight pretty darn quickly here as Penals are forcing them back into base. Geez, SU-85's coming in as well. Fascinating. The P4's coming on around looking for that SU-85, and the damage Shug as well will not be denied. Might be better for the Shug not to engage right now. Would be very good for them to not engage right now. And now the other explosive trap gets thrown on out, so Germans continue to lose a lot of tickets here. And I thought that initial armor engagement was probably pretty darn good, but I think that when that Tiger overextended by himself, that was the death of the German war machine here. You can see right now they are down to a bare 100 tickets, 98 to 99, 97, and that lead that they had is only growing smaller. I'm going to speed this up a bit because why bother giving you guys time with no action? Grenadiers shuffling on in, but not the most effective branch about it. And there we go, a little bit of fight and Strom und Drang, but not a whole lot there. And the German army is pretty much in shambles. Rifle grenade going on out. Not quite able to take out this group, though. Does great amounts of damage, health-wise, but not fantastic as it pertains to... What's the term I'm looking for here? As it pertains to straight up models. TM-35 mine going down the center part of the map, big stupid deal at this point. But this Tiger tank is back out, and he's getting a lot of firepower with that machine gun coming on up. So if the Germans can turn around and slam the Soviet armor into nothingness, they might be able to take back enough of these points to at least force a minimal victory. But looking at it now, 39 to 99, they are running out of time, and it is not looking pretty. Oof. Oof, I don't even know what that took that shot. That's 120 mil? Jeez. That Tiger's going to go down pretty quickly, isn't it? It's a shame. He's going to force back and nothing else. And I think that's going to be pretty much all she wrote there, folks. So congratulations to Taylor Swift for coming back. I was actually really surprised by that. I kind of expected to see a Luciano victory at the end of it all. It does not look like that's going to be the case now, does it? Luciano dropping a heartbreaker. Despite having a massive, massive armor roster, he's not going to be able to convert that into a victory. So another T-34-76 comes on out. Germans will lose their last couple of tickets in a quietly ignoble fashion. P4 is out. This guy's going to die in a second, though. Still go close air support. Actually, can we see... Yeah, some good damage being done, at least. But that's going to be it. So well done to Taylor Swift. Winning it up in 55 minutes and 12 seconds by a score of 99-0. Winner by way of knockout. I kind of wonder if Luciano had pressed the issue a little bit more, or like I said, really held on to his first Tiga and not overextended, how much of a different game it might have been. But alas, we will never know. But that's going to be it for me today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning on in. If you like what you see here, please like and comment below. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. We're always looking for more people to join, the Wolf Clan over here. I'll see you guys all soon. You all have a great day. This is Conor signing off. Take it easy.